Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to Girls That Manifest. On this show, I will teach you how to manifest an expansive and extraordinary life beyond your wildest dreams. We will go deep on all things mindset, manifestation, law of assumption, spirituality, and metaphysics. I can't wait to bring you this content. So grab your matcha, mimosa, or macchiato and let's get into the show. Welcome to the second installment of the Law of Assumption 101 series, where we are going to talk about and break down everything to do with Law of Assumption, because I love it and I want to teach you all about it. And today's topic, we are talking about self-concept. So I know you've heard me talk about this endlessly in so many episodes, so I thought, why not dedicate an actual episode to explaining what it is and why it's so important for manifesting everything you want and literally becoming an entirely different person who gets everything that they want. Does that sound like something you want to listen to? Great, let's continue. So I'm going to be talking about a couple of things in this episode, namely what self-concept is and how you can change it. But I want to share a few little stories, a few little examples, and a few ways to help you really connect with this idea of self-concept. Because for people who've come from the law of attraction world, this probably isn't something that you've heard about a lot. You might have maybe seen videos or heard people mention it throughout your journey. But to really, really grasp this, you need to understand what it is and why it's so important. And once you do, I think you're going to be like, oh my God, this is the missing piece. This is what it is. This is what I've been looking for, even though I know all the techniques that there are and I've been doing them religiously for weeks, months, years. This is the thing that I was missing. There might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's exactly how I felt when I discovered self-concept. Now, a caveat, before we begin, I don't want to make you think that this is the only thing in order for you to manifest. Everything works, right? Because it's all about being in the state. It's all about being in the end, being the person who has what they want, naturally living in that end state. That's all it is about. So there's many, many, many ways to access that state. The state is the result of self-concept work. Okay, so they're basically the same thing, but self-concept has a little bit more that you can work with. The state is very, very set in that it's just about living in that end state, being in the state of who you want to be with as the person with what you want. Okay, so let's get into it. What is self-concept? So your self-concept is defined as an idea of the self constructed from the beliefs one holds about oneself and the responses of others. It is how you see yourself. It's the opinion you have of yourself. It's how you define yourself. It's the sets of rules that you've created for yourself. It is your assumptions. It is your beliefs. It's your dominant moods and states. It's the experiences you have. Your self-concept makes up all of that. But if you want to boil it down to the specific things that a self-concept does, it's what you think about yourself, right? The continuous thoughts you have about yourself, how you feel about yourself, who you think you are at your core, who you think others think you are at your core. It's how you see the world and also how you believe the world works for you, right? So we all have a ton of different rules and beliefs and assumptions that serve us and don't serve us. So for example, maybe you have always been able to manifest at least one client when you've needed it after you've finished working with the previous one. Like even when you were going into panic mode, even when you were worrying about where your next influx of cash was going to come from, you always knew that no matter what, there was always going to be one client who came into your world right after the last one finished. That's a self-concept. Maybe you have a self-concept about family dinners and what kind of dish you make and what dish everyone loves. Like for me, it's my lemon cheesecake. I am the only one in the family who makes the bomb ass lemon cheesecake. It is requested every time there is a family gathering. Everyone loves it. It is devoured every time we have family gatherings. There's no leftovers, which always makes me annoyed because I only get one slice. But that's my self-concept. I make the best lemon cheesecake ever. And it's also my family's self-concept about me. Maybe you thought things like, I always get clients who pay in full, or I always have at least 10 customers enroll into my course whenever I open it. This is all self-concept. Now, if we're looking at it in a light that doesn't serve us, maybe your self-concept is, I always get passed over for promotions at work. So-and-so always gets chosen before me. People who started way after I started get chosen before me. Or maybe in relationships, it's something like the types of guys or girls I'm attracted to never like me back. I always attract people I'm not attracted to. That's a self-concept. Or maybe you are always late. No matter what you do, no matter how early you try to be, you are always late and it pisses your friends off so much. That's a self-concept. Okay? It's all self-concept. How you see yourself, how you see how the world works with you, how you see your business working for you, how you think people see you. It's all self-concept. Isn't that fucking cool? It's so cool when you think about it. You're like, wow. So the reason self-concept is so important is because your self-concept shapes your entire experience, right? Your entire experience in life. It's the reason you are manifesting the results you're currently manifesting or not manifesting. It's the reason things feel really hard. It's the reason you don't feel good enough. It's the reason why you feel like you can never get ahead, because this is the way that you see yourself. And this is the experience you perceive yourself as having that corresponds with the self-concept that you have about yourself. So if your self-concept is one of success and capability and positivity and wealth and abundance, you are more likely to manifest those outcomes that align with those beliefs and assumptions, because that's how you see yourself. So if you've been seeing yourself in a way that doesn't serve you, and if you are experiencing things right now that you're not quite happy with, or there's a bit of an imbalance where some things are working, but there are more things that aren't working, you've got to change your self-concept to change the circumstances happening around you, right? Because it's your self-concept that's creating those circumstances. We don't have to focus on the circumstances. We don't have to try and change whatever's happening out in the physical world. We don't have to go and send flyers to different people's homes in order to try and get business or get a job or something like that. That's not what you have to do. It's when you change within, all of the shit happening out in the physical world is going to change as an effect of that, right? Because you see yourself differently. You are no longer playing the role where you don't get what you want, where things are hard, where it's kind of wobbly, where sometimes you get what you want and sometimes you don't. Instead, you're moving yourself into the role where you always get what you want, where no matter how bad it looks or how much it looks like it's not happening or it's not working, you always get what you want. Everything works out in your favor. You are literally limitless. That can be a self-concept too, right? Because everything is you pushed out. Have you heard that saying before? Everything is you, or everyone is you pushed out. What that means is your concept of yourself is reflected back to you from the world, right? The circumstances that I was talking about, they're a reflection of what's going on inside your mind. It's a reflection of how you are thinking and seeing and viewing yourself. So, in Law of Assumption, Neville Goddard always talks about there's no one to change but self. When you change yourself, that's when everything else changes. So it's quite a relief when you understand and when you realize that there's not a whole lot of shit you need to do. You don't have to think about this specific thing that you want to manifest and then carefully plan all of the details of the things that you want to manifest. Like a business, right? It's a big thing. It's not just one thing you want to manifest. You don't just want to manifest sales, right? You want to manifest customers who are also aligned. You would like to be able to manifest being able to work better times. You would like to manifest more free time from your business. You'd also like to manifest easier systems and processes. You'd also like to manifest a brand that's going viral and that people are constantly picking up your content and sharing it. You'd also like to manifest more opportunities that you can't think of, right? If you tried to micromanage all of those bits by focusing on each of them, trying to manifest all of them, you will go fucking insane, right? So the self-concept is really about creating the state so that you don't have to think about all of those details, right? It's just about becoming and then being who you want to be. I've been watching the show Lucifer, which is about the devil who gets bored of running hell and decides to move to Los Angeles and become a consultant for the LAPD. And it's a really good watch. It's a really easy watch. I find it really funny. But the overarching theme in this entire show is about his self-concept. It's about how he sees himself. So as we move through the show, you can see he's a really charming, charismatic person. Everyone loves him. But his underlying feelings about himself are that he's unworthy, not good enough, that he is a bad person, or a bad angel or a bad devil. And he goes to therapy and he explores all these different themes. He doesn't really learn much, but when he does, he learns things the hard, long way. And as he gets angry, he turns into the devil. Like he has a red devil face and turns, red. And we learn throughout the show that he and all the angels can self-actualize. So when he turns into the red devil with his red devil face, he's the one who's creating that. He's the one who's pushing that out into the physical reality because that's his self-concept. It's not what he was cursed with. It's not what his father cursed him with. It's not something that wasn't a choice. It's the face he chose for himself. He sees himself as a monster. But because he's on this journey, he's tired of seeing himself as a monster and he wants to shift how he thinks. He wants to see himself as worthy. He wants to see himself as good enough. He wants to see himself as worthy of his father's love and worthy of his partner's love. And so I find that such a powerful lesson and metaphor for our self-concepts, for how we see ourselves. Because what we truly feel about ourselves, how we truly see ourselves, the opinions we have of ourselves are what we push out into reality, right? And that's what reflects back to us through our circumstances, through our environment, through the people in it. Everything is only reflecting back to us how we see ourselves, which is why what you're manifesting is or isn't working, is or isn't happening, is or isn't coming to you in bits. It's all to do with how you see yourself. When we view ourselves in ways in which don't serve us, don't help us, diminish us, make us feel like we are never going to be good enough no matter how much we try, no matter how much we do, it just means we're going to sabotage ourselves, right? Because we're not willing to see ourselves a different way. And so when it comes to changing your self-concept, what we have to look at is becoming aware first of what our current self-concept is. Because when you're not aware of it, when you don't realize what you're doing, it tends to just run on autopilot, right? And you don't understand completely why things are happening the way that they are, or why you're feeling this way all of the time, or why things never seem to work out for you, why it's really hard, why everything feels like a really hard uphill battle. So to help you with that, a few questions I want you to ask yourself are, what does your current internal dialogue consist of? What do you catch yourself saying? Like, what are the constant themes on your mind throughout the day? Overall, what do you think and feel about yourself? How do you think others view you? And how do you currently believe the world works for you? I want you to answer those questions to start exploring what the current self-concept is. We don't need to investigate deeply. I don't want you to get stuck here and be like, oh my gosh, I think all these negative things about myself, it's never going to change. No, we're encouraging the old self-concept. We don't want that. As I said to my Money Mindset School crew the other day, it's just about mining for data. We just want to get an idea of what the current self-concept is so that we know exactly what we need to pinpoint and shift. Once you've figured out what your self-concept currently is, now we figure out the fun part of the self-concept that you want to develop, that you want to embody, right? Because your inner world equals your outer world. So what inner world do you want to create in order to have that reflect back to you from the outer world? So some questions I want you to answer, because I love my questions, I love journal exercises, I love exploring. I would love for you to answer, how do you want to think and feel about yourself in a new self-concept, and the self-concept that you want that serves you? How would you like to think and feel about your business, about money, about relationships, about anything you're trying to manifest? How would you like to now think about them? How would you like to think and feel about manifestation itself? In this new self-concept, how would you like to handle fears and insecurities? And how would you like to react to circumstances from now on? And then finally, how would you treat yourself if you saw yourself as the version you want to be, in the highest light, as the exact type of person you want to be, living the exact type of life you want to be living? How would you be treating yourself? Because when we explore the idea of this new self-concept, and then we compare it to the current self-concept that we have, we can kind of see that there's a vast difference, right? There may be some overlap, but overall, there's a lot of stuff that we'd like to change. right? Now, I understand it can feel like it's a big job. It can feel like, wow, I've got so many things that I need to change. I've got so many things that I have to work on. But it's not true. Changing your self-concept is actually quite simple. And you know me, I like my shortcuts. I like simplifying things, so I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. What you need to do in terms of changing your self-concept is a mental diet. So a mental diet is about being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your overall state, and noticing if you're thinking opposing thoughts that don't match the new self-concept. It's about flipping them, right? Flipping them in the moment, flipping the feelings in the moment if you want to, flipping the state in the moment. Like I say, it doesn't really matter how you're feeling. It's about what you're associating to it, right? So if you're not feeling in the greatest mood today, you can still be saying to yourself, nope, I still get it all, even though I'm not having a great day. I'm in a mood. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I still get everything I want. I'm still manifesting everything I want. I still get to have it all. Everything's always working out for me. And I get to be a whole ass human at the same time. It's just about noticing and switching if it's not in alignment with your desired self-concept, right? If you're thinking thoughts and feeling feelings and being in a state that is keeping you in the old self-concept, that's when you know you need to flip it. That doesn't mean you need to go from like an unhappy emotion to a happy emotion. It just means that you need to shift the way in which you're looking at it, the way in which you see it. So, like I just shared, if you're feeling like you're in the old state, the old self-concept, where you feel stuck, where like nothing's working, where you're still wanting, still really, really wanting, feeling kind of desperate and needy, you shift that to, and I still get it all anyway. It's okay to feel human. It's okay to go through these things. But I'm flipping this to, I get what I want. Isn't it great that I still get to have what I want, even though I'm being a whole ass human? And a mental diet, it's meant to be fun, right? It's not meant to be constantly like you're fighting yourself. It is meant to be uplifting and energizing. And on the days when you're feeling good and when you feel like you're in that new self-concept, you can continuously reinforce that and keep telling yourself like, I always get it all. This is who I am now. I'm a person who always wins. Nothing is ever kept from me. God has got my back. I'm the God of my reality. And as you begin to tell yourself these new stories and assumptions, you will start to see a shift in your reality. And that's how you know when your mental diet is actually changing your self-concept, because you will begin to start changing and the things reflecting back to you from the physical world, from the 3D world, will start changing. But if you don't know where to start, you could use affirmations like the following. I am God of my reality. I always get what I want. It's up and up only. I am the operant power. I am in complete control of my life. I'm so powerful. I'm the best version of myself. I completely love who I am. I am enough already just the way I am. I'm capable of anything. I'm the luckiest person alive. I am worthy of every single thing I desire. And even when I don't feel worthy, I still get everything I desire. Everything always works out to my advantage. Circumstances are always rigged in my favor. I become luckier every single day. My life is incredible. I deserve the very best life has to offer. I'm so grateful for all the blessings in my life. Each day, my self-concept is getting stronger and stronger. Nothing is impossible in my world. I get to have it all. It gets to be so easy. I am loved and valued. I am wanted by everybody. I'm the best. I'm always a winner. I'm always successful at everything I do. I deserve the best that this universe has to offer. I'm worthy of all love and prosperity. I am invincible. I am fearless. I am the one with infinite amounts of money. I am the one with all health, wealth, happiness in the world. My life is truly effortless. So you can begin to say things like this to yourself, that everything's always working out for you, that you get to have it all, that nothing is off limits to you. And as you continue to tell yourself these things, right, and you're flipping any of those opposing thoughts or opposing states or opposing feelings, and you're giving it to yourself anyway, you're reminding yourself that you get to have it all anyway, no matter what state you're in, you will see how quickly things begin to change. But you have to stay on that mental diet. You can't do it for a day and then default back into your old self-concept, therefore your old way of thinking and believing and assuming and experiencing the world, and expect that to have made a dent in your self-concept. You've been building the self-concept for your entire lifetime. So you got to give yourself some grace to let this simmer, to let this sink in, to let this shift. And that's why the repetition of having a mental diet, also what I like to say, a daily practice, is what's going to create that change. It's just straight up repetition, right? Nothing magical about that, but the results it creates are quite magical. So, with saying that, what I want to leave you with is this quote by Neville Goddard, who talks about self-concept a lot. He says, "There is nothing to change but our concept of ourself. As soon as we succeed in transforming self, our world will dissolve and reshape itself in harmony with that which our change affirms." Meaning that when you change yourself, the world around you will change to reflect that. And that is why self-concept is so powerful, because it goes to the absolute nucleus of what manifestation is. We may have started out this journey literally just trying to get things, but when you understand that this is really about understanding your power as the God of your reality, that you have full control to have, do, and be anything that you want, it's like you can't just go back to only wanting things. It's about becoming someone in which you have never seen yourself as before, and letting yourself be it, have it, do it, even though it doesn't make any sense, even though no one around you has done it before, even though it was so impossible. It's about defying all odds and letting yourself truly experience what you were put on this earth for, to understand, know, and live out being the God of your reality. So that is why self-concept is ultra important. So my love, I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you did, of course, I would love for you to leave a review for the show so that we can get this in front of more ears and have more people listening to Girls That Manifest to really help them truly change their entire lives and entire identities to have the life that they want. And if you heard anything in this episode that you really liked and want to discuss, come over to the Girls That Manifest Facebook group. And other than that, I will catch you in the next episode.